Karen? Okay. Well, chocolate ramen. I'm okay, thanks. All right, everybody, good morning. Welcome to the December 5th, 2022 Grants Pass City Council Workshop. I know that Brian De La Grange is coming in late today. Looks like we're missing DJ. We're missing somebody else too. Okay, just DJ? Okay, DJ and Brian coming in late. Okay. Anyway, we are going to get going first with our interviews for the Historical Building and Sites Commission. And it looks like we have Sandra here, so let's start with her. So I have a selection of questions here for the candidates. We'll have about 10 minutes for each candidate, and then after these questions, after I read the first few questions, if you council have any follow-up questions, feel free to ask. And Sandy, could you please come up here and make sure that that mic is on? Is the light on at the base? Okay. Welcome. Please introduce yourself and let us know why you're interested in running for the HBSC position.
I'm already on the HBSC commission, and my name is Sandra Crowder. Hello, Kurt.
Is that mic on?
It is.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you okay, but I know some other people have trouble sometimes. What specific skills would you bring to the HBSC?
Well, I've been a business owner in this town I just started my 25th year, 19 years on G Street. I've been on I worked with, I don't like these things.
I'm sorry, the question was
Thank
about
you.
skills.
My skills. Well, I've already been on the commission. I was active in the Town Center Association.
Okay. That's it. What do you see as important issues of preservation that confront us in the next few years, and why are they important?
Maintaining the integrity of the downtown district. That's very important because this town is known for tourism, and we need to continue that. That's what keeps our town alive.
If you are selected as an HBSC commissioner, what are your goals and what would you like to accomplish during your term?
I would like to see more public, I don't like the word toilets, but restrooms. I would like to see the banners in the historical district. I'd like to see the Bohemian finished. That's all.
Okay.
There's probably more.
What do you see as the relationship between historic preservation and economic development?
It's the integrity of the downtown district, the historical feel of it. Being a business owner, I hear travelers say, "This is so quaint." It's just a hometown, a small town feel, even though we're not a small town anymore.
All right. Is there anything else you would like to add about your interest in the HBSC?
I just like helping to keep this town the feel that it is.
All right, councilors, are there any other questions you would like to ask? Rob?
Yeah, thanks, Sandy. Yeah, I know what you mean when you say that travelers or visitors or tourists really appreciate the downtown. I'm amazed at how many people get their pictures taken on the side of the Sunshine Building in front of the two old murals, and it blows me away because I don't particularly think that they're special, but tourists really do appreciate our downtown for sure. So I get that. So, is there anything in particular that you felt was especially valuable that the HBSC that you were a part of in the last year? Any votes or any issues that you guys did a really good job on?
I think presenting, having the flags in the historical district is a good thing, and we were active parts of that. I'm not going to say this properly. The conservation district, where it's L and I can't remember the other one. Preserving the historical feel in that area, and I don't know, I don't like these things. You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right, thanks for being here today, Sandy. We do have it on our agenda to make a decision on Wednesday night, so we'll be making decision then and letting the candidates know after that.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for your service on that commission. And I don't see Terry here. She's on her way down. Okay. Hi, Terry. Please step up to the mic.
Hi.
Welcome. So we are doing our interviews now for the HBSC Historic Building and Sites Commission, and we have a few questions here that I have, and then if the counselors want to ask any follow-up questions, they'll do that. It'll just take 10 minutes or so, and then we'll be making our decision on Wednesday night.
Perfect.
So, welcome. Please introduce yourself and let us know why you would like to serve on HBSC.
My name is Terry Collins Bain, and I'm applying for the position of member at large. I am a member of the Historical Society and a business owner downtown. The downtown area and the historic area is something that is very dear and near to my heart. I've lived here in Grants Pass for 38 years, raised my children here, and I want to give back to the community that has given so much to me.
Thank you. And what specific skills or experience do you bring to the commission?
I have an art history major, an interior design major, and I have an extensive background in construction field, owning a general contracting license business here in town for a few years, plus home inspection. So that kind of architectural, building, historical is something that's very near to me, and I just love it. Absolutely love the historic areas that we have.
If you are selected as an HBSC commissioner, what are your goals that you would like to accomplish during your term?
I would like to continue the historic buildings and the overall aesthetics that we have in downtown already, to preserve the old buildings, but still bringing new life to some of them, rather than just letting them sit in disrepair.
What are important issues you see, important issues of preservation that confront us in the next few years, and why are they important?
Presentations in regards to the building or to the city?
Just issues of preservation.
I think it's really a lack of, I think that the challenges we have are the lack of participation. That people like the idea of preserving things, they like the idea of, restoring some of the older things, but not a lot of people want to get involved. And I love to get other people involved. So I'm a big supporter of bringing in other resources and bouncing my ideas off of people who have great ideas, but are afraid to come to a meeting or to speak their opinion out in public.
How do you see the relationship between historic preservation and economic development?
Oh, I think it's a great relationship, and I think it will just continue to grow. It's not going to be without some rife and some, not headbutting, but, maybe some agree to disagree moments. But I think the two have to go in hand in order for Grants Pass to survive.
Council, do you have any questions? Val?
Thank you for applying for this. This is great. Are there any improvements, buildings, structures, signs, objects, features, sites, places, or areas that you feel are especially suitable candidates for historic preservation designation in our city? Have you?
Well, I think we have some great opportunity on H Street and on I Street that they're not bad, but they're just not very visual appealing when you take one step off of the main streets, 6th or 7th. So I think there's generally some great areas that we can restore cost effectively without, having to reconstruct building faces and that kind of stuff, just to make them look more appealing.
Other questions? Kurt?
Okay, I think I should at least give the perception of questioning you. What 3 objectives would you use to describe your personality?
Outgoing.
And keep in mind that I might know.
Oh, in that case, bossy, opinionated. In reality, I'm very outgoing. I love to get other people involved. I'm very tenacious. And I don't take no easily.
Amen.
All right, any other questions? All right, Terry, is there anything else you wanted to add about your interest in the HBSC?
No, but I just want to thank you for the opportunity today.
All right, well, thank you for applying and for your time today, and we'll let you know after Wednesday.
All right, thank you very
All right,
much. Have a
thank
great
you.
day.
Have a good day. All right. Item number 2, skate park, request for proposals. Is this Jason? No.
You need to turn this on.
Yeah. There we go.
Good afternoon, Josh Hopkins, Park Superintendent. We're here to discuss options for the Grants Pass Skate Park RFP. This is continuing a discussion that's been going on for several months. With that, we're seeking council direction on how to proceed with the RFP for our skate park to make some repairs to this facility. This is in line with council goals of enhancing community safety and expanding and maintaining our infrastructure. As far as the background on this goes, the skate park has been in need of repairs for many years now. In March 16, 2022, a presentation was made going over the various aspects of the RFP we had prepared for this project. And at that time, there were some questions about the resurfacing part of it and what constitutes as resurfacing for a skate park. And the general consensus was we needed to get some more information on what type of surfacing we'd have and to reach out to different organizations to see what they were doing. With that, during the months of April and May, staff reached out to numerous vendors, concrete workers, engineers in other cities to see if they had anything that they could provide us in comparison of our current skate park RFP. We weren't really given any responses to that outreach. We did get back from our own engineering firm that with the sandblasting that was called for and the pressure washing as a part of our skate parks RFP, it would help to make the surface last longer, but it's not going to improve the overall surface condition as far as making it smoother. Then we did a council memo in August letting you guys know what we found out as far as where we were going and requested to just move forward with the RFP as written so that we could get this project underway. And on the August 3rd meeting, there was a discussion during council comments about requesting a workshop to have further discussions on this RFP process. So since then, we continue to reach out to different vendors and things like that. I reached out to Evergreen Skate Park, who is a large skate park contracting company. They build skate parks all across the nation. They actually provided us an assessment back in 2014 of this current skate park. In speaking with them and reviewing the scope of work we had for RFP, they're not really interested in doing that anymore. Their recommendation is to just do a complete concrete overlay of the skate park. Essentially, they don't think that our skate park's in a condition that we should be doing this type of repair, and they're really engaged with the idea of doing a concrete overlay. I reached out to Dreamland Skate Park, who is another Oregon-based company out of Newport. They've done a lot of work over the Pacific Northwest, including down in this general area like the city of Brookings, Gold Beach, Port Orford, their type of skate park bowls. They expressed interest in the project, and after talking about the scope of work with them, they explained that, they don't sandblast skate parks anymore. It's not really something they recommend. Essentially, the sandblasting can be a little bit too abrasive. It will make for more of a harder surface and riding surface. Their recommendation is to do a grind and polish when they resurface a skate park, with the polishing being kind of the thing that finishes it up. They bring in sanding disc grinders and everything like that. They said the grind and polish obviously costs a little bit more from staff hours, but you get such a better product that it's not really something that, they don't get into the idea of just pressure washing or any of that stuff anymore. They just grind them and polish. In speaking with Evergreen and Dreamland, they did let me know that, the city of Hillsborough had a skate park that had resurfacing work done on it, and the city of Gold Hill right down the road. So I was able to contact them and get copies of what their scopes of work look like, just to compare as far as where ours is. And then just taking a step back, when we originally planned for this project, we were using the assessment provided by Evergreen Skate Park back in 2014. With that, we were using option number 2. The general idea for this is we weren't necessarily focused on a resurfacing project for the skate park, but addressing the safety issues at the skate park. Our skate park, has a lot of cracks, pitting, coping work that needs done. And then we have a drainage issue with the main sewer drain at the skate park not quite draining right. So we think that's helping to compromise the existing structure. That's really what RFP was focused on from our side with the engineering, was option number 2 here. Again, at this point, Evergreen's saying they're not interested in doing option number 2. They think our skate park's beyond what option number 2 could be. And they're working on more of the idea we need to do a complete concrete overlay, which back in 2014, they estimated about $500,000. So adding for inflation would be quite a bit more now. Looking at the comparison of our scopes with Gold Hills, it's pretty similar. We, again, call for sandblasting, but we're also sealing the cracks. We're adding a sealer to the whole skate park. We're doing the drainage work, and then we're going in, adding epoxy, filling up the cracks, the holes, anything like that, and then fixing a lot of the coping rails and stuff like that. And that's similar to what Gold Hill was doing too. Their skate park, they just did pressure washing of it, just to clean it off and get the grit off. They said it worked out well for them, but it doesn't sound like theirs was really in the same type of condition that ours is in. So I'm not sure if it's that comparable. It's just more of showing you guys that, they did a pressure wash and a sealer. With that, they used steelhead concrete, which is a more local concrete contractor, and they reported that the sealer helps make the surface a little bit smoother, but it's not the same as like a completely resurfaced with just sealer. The city of Hillsborough had a skate park that was in very similar condition of ours. It was a very similar age skate park, and plus Hillsborough gets a sizable amount of rain. One of the things we're finding in the Pacific Northwest is when we're putting in our skate parks, a lot of the contractors are now recommending that we do reseal the entire structure within every 2 to 5 years type of a thing because of the amount of rain we get in this region. It's just something they weren't really thinking about 20 years ago when they started putting them all in. So with the Hillsborough one, they initially put out their RFP to do sandblasting in the skate park. It pretty much lines up with what ours was going to look like as well. But when they went through their RFP process, they got comments back from the vendors that were looking at it and found out, oh, we don't recommend doing a sandblasting. In this case, what they did was a wet sandblast, which is just sandblasting, but more wet type of a thing. The idea is you get a lot of the benefits from the sandblasting as far as getting rid of the grit and grime. However, you don't pit it as much because it's wetter and it's going to be a lower velocity going down to the ground. It's not going to chip up the concrete as much. They said they had great response from their RFP and from the work that they did from their different user groups. It's weird having everyone like this. But so, you know, outside of that, they did everything we were planning on doing as far as sealing the cracks, adding the polymers, staging the area, and fixing it up. They completed this work about 2 years ago, and speaking with their park supervisors, they're saying it's turned out really well. It's been very positively received, and they haven't gotten any complaints about the overall condition of their surfacing of the skate park. They acknowledge that, you know, it's not like a brand new concrete overlaid smooth surface, but it is, you know, better than what it was, and the whole skate park's safer. And that was their big thing, again, was the safety aspect of the skate park. Here's just an example of what Hillsborough Skate Park looked like after they did their repairs. Ours would look a lot similar. You can see that on this little fun box they have there for the various tricks that you can do on it. They rebuilt up some of the ledging for the concrete work. They did some of the work around the copings. And then the cracking, you see where they've sealed and added the injection molding to the cracking to kind of make it more uniform and smooth. One of their big issues, similar to our skate park, is they had some crackings that can cause wheel bite, where it just snags onto the board wheel and stuff like that, and then you get kids doing somersaults and whatnot when they weren't planning on it. So this really addressed a lot of their safety issues. You can see from the surfacing that, you know, I can't really tell a difference between that surfacing or any other surfacing. But again, their whole thing wasn't really focused on resurfacing their skate park. It was addressing the safety concerns like what we initially were looking at. So with that, we do have our call to action, and it is, you know, at council discretion. Just a little bit about cost implications. This project was budgeted to be spent out of the LB 6189. We currently have a cash balance of a little over $470K in that account, but we still have Lawn Ridge pickleball courts going in right now. That's going to come out of that. Then we've got Musco lighting work that's coming out of that too. So that number's going to be quite a bit less than what it is currently standing. Our scope of work is kind of interesting on this. The original estimate back at the beginning of February was about $102,000 to have this work done. In August, when we brought this back with the memo and everything like that, the council, we reached back out to Thornton because we realized that, yeah, inflation was going to happen since that time frame, and there was a 15% increase to account for inflation. We haven't reached back out for an estimate since then. I suspect that the cost has gone up, and it's going to continue to go up with time. That's just the nature of what we've got in the construction trade right now. So what we're really here for is to get direction from how council would like us to proceed. If we're looking at adjusting our scope of work, you know, we just adjust it and move forward knowing that it's going to increase the cost of this project, and we'll just have to see where it comes out at. We do have a few options if resurfacing is more what we're focusing on, to add that as another layer to this. With that, we could look at doing a sandblast and polish, which is similar to Hillsborough. They didn't do the polish step of it, which is what Dreamland kind of reported as being the big thing that they do afterwards to help smooth everything out. But it'd be similar to what we have as far as cost. We would be adding extra man hours for the polishing and probably a little bit more materials and stuff like that for the different pads they use. Then we have the grind and polish option, which is what Dreamland recommends. Again, they're pretty much one of the industry leaders in our region for designing and building skate parks. In their opinion, the grind and polish is pretty much the way to go for skate parks. That one would come at a larger cost in general, just because it's going to be similar as far as time-wise for the sandblasting, but we still have the polish side of it that would be added with the man hours too. And they do that, you know, guy in the bowl with a disc, basically, type of a thing. So it is a very time-consuming process. And then another option we have, if we want to kind of step back but still just do the work but not abrase the concrete with sandblasting, would be do something similar to Gold Hill, which that's just, you know, pressure washing the skate park, getting it all cleaned up, and then seeing about having it polished. With the sealer, all of these options are expected to make the surface a little bit better, but we can't really say for certain as to like how much better it's going to be. None of it is going to result in it being like a brand new, completely uniform, smooth surface skate park. For that option, you'd be looking at evaluate doing a concrete overlay. That's what Evergreen is recommending and saying that's pretty much the only thing they'd be interested in working on for this project. Again, that was $500,000 in 2014, adjusted for inflation, and we're pretty much just guessing at that point, but it's going to be sizable. And then we always have the option of evaluating a complete replacement skate park. Our current estimate when we first looked at this project back in February was about $1.5 million. When I was talking to Dreamland a month or so ago, they said that, yeah, that sounded about right for the size of facility we have at 2,200 or 22,000 square feet, something like that. Other options we have would be to just remove this project and look at it further down the road if we can't get a consensus on what council would like us to do. From a staff perspective, we really need your guys' say in what you want us to do at this point, since it's, we don't want to put something out there, go through the whole bidding process, and then have it here for council to approve, and you guys not approve it based off of the surfacing side of it. And then the other thing we have with the removing project is, again, when we first were budgeting for this project, beginning of the year, the estimate was only $102,000, or $102,000. At this point, we're looking over $120,000, adjusting for inflation, 130 somewhere around there maybe, and that's if we're going to be right with our estimate. Our estimates have been off recently, largely due to just the great increase in cost of construction overall. And that's just been something we've all been trying to adjust for. So we do have a situation to where, since we've kind of pushed it so far already, we might go through the bidding process and find out that this turns into a project that comes at a way higher amount, knowing we have, money already still coming out of the LB 6182 or 3, I can't remember. It might create the scenario where we have to not do the project at this time, and we'd have to look at budgeting for it for another fiscal year or something like that. Again, this project was largely focused on addressing the safety issue aspect of the skate park and doing what we could do to preserve the concrete to get it to that point to where 5-7 years down the road, we would be looking at either a large scale overlay or possibly building a whole new skate park. So that's where we're at. And then the other option we have would be to just move this to another workshop and not make a decision today, reach out to different user groups or anything like that to see who would want to participate, to let us know what their opinions are on it. We haven't identified those user groups on our end yet, type of a thing, but I'm sure there's some out there.
Thank you. Council, are there any questions? Valerie, then DJ?
My first question is LB 6189. You talked a little bit about the fact that there's money in there right now. I don't know specifically what that LB project is stated at, but there's lighting and other things coming out there. Is this money that's set up for this skate park, or is it set up for numerous?
That one's set up for numerous. That's the existing parks repairs and
Okay.
replacement of LB code that we use for, across the board things that don't quite get their own LB codes.
Okay, and so you said right now some of that's already designated for lighting and some other projects?
Yeah, we've got, 30,000 some odd coming out for the Musco lighting project at Reinhardt, and then I believe the pickleball court for Lawn Ridge is coming out of that project as well. And that one's, I think it's up to like 190 or so right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Josh, make sure to speak into the mic so we can hear you. DJ, then Joel?
Sure. I know we've had people come in and talk to us occasionally about the need for the repairs and everything. As far as user groups or general people that use it, you mentioned that you haven't officially reached out, but do you have a good bearing on user groups and how they feel about the condition of the skate park?
I've been here about 6 months, and I've actually never had anyone call to complain about the condition of the skate park. One of the bright sides about our skate park is I've gotten 5 or 6 calls about it, but they've all been super positive, and it's normally parents talking about how other kids are like really helping out their kids to learn. It's like super positive to the community, which makes me happy. But I haven't had anyone actually call and complain about the overall condition of the skate park. We do know that there are safety hazards present, just because of the size of the gapping in some of the areas and some of the other condition assessments we've done. So I'm not really sure as to how much outreach there's been or like past history there is of people complaining about the overall, like, condition of it.
Sure, thank you.
Joel, then Rob, then Rick.
Well, just from a policy standpoint, I was wondering on the life cycle costs, and I'm not an engineer, and I don't know the difference between those first three and in terms of their effectiveness. I don't want to get into that technical expertise part. But when I look at the, how old is the skate park today?
It was built in 2000, I believe.
So, okay,
23-ish.
so it's lasted 22 years. So the concrete overlay option, how long is that expected to last?
My understanding after talking to Evergreen would be a concrete overlay option is essentially getting a new skate park. You're looking for another 10 to 15 years
10 to
out of
15
it.
years, okay.
Yeah.
And then on the current scope of work where we just fixed what's wrong for $150,000, how long is that going to last before we need to do something again?
The original expectation was to make it to where it lasts hopefully 5 to 7 years so we could come back and then build a new skate park or a
In
larger
5 to
repair.
7 years, okay. Thank you.
Rob?
So on slide number 8, the picture of the Hillsborough Park, so at what stage of the project were these pictures taken?
This was after completion, and these were taken about a couple months afterwards. They sent it over to me.
And they basically did the minimum, we'll say, or the lowest priced option.
I don't think they would consider it the minimum, but they did the option that
Of the
they
ones
thought-
that you've presented, this is the lowest priced option, or no?
No, I think the
Okay.
lowest priced option would probably be the pressure wash and polish. They did the wet sandblast one, and then they did pretty much everything that's in our current RFP outside of that.
Okay.
Rick?
Thank you, Josh. So is a project like this eligible for any of our tourism dollars?
It'd be tough to say because it'd be a tourism facility. If we were having like special events and like competitions out there, I'm sure we could make the argument for it. But it really just depends on how we've got that worded in our ordinance. And then of those tourism dollars, most of them are pretty much spoken for, I would think, throughout the rest of the budget process.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Vanessa, then Val?
Counselor King stepped away, but when was that work done? That was $150,000 was spent, do you know, on the skate park?
We haven't spent anything like that on the skate park. That's just what Joel was using as a number.
I think
of
he had
possible.
kind of rounded up on the 120.
Yeah, so the numbers that we have present for you right now is the 2022 August estimate of 120,000. I was just explaining that, you know, we're several months past that already, and with the cost of inflation and everything still going up, it would likely this to be a lot larger up into that price.
And I understand that work was brought forward to buy 5 to 7 years of life, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Valerie?
Yeah, I'm just going to follow up on the question about the, Rob's question about the completion, looking at the number 8, the city of Hillsborough. You said the city of Hillsborough did the wet blasting, am I correct?
Correct.
And then you mentioned, did they not do the polishing afterwards? Because you mentioned that that was something that we would do above that. So that's, I was just looking at this and I'm kind of like, Rob, kind of think it looks unfinished. It looks like.
Yeah, they didn't do the polishing afterwards. They just did the wet sandblast and then cleaned it all off type of a thing and added the seal coating. They said that, you know, it didn't cause their concrete to get any more abrasive or anything like that, but overall, they're not really sure if it really helped with the overall smoothness.
Okay. Okay, so you're suggesting the wet blasting and the polishing?
Yeah, if we were gonna go that route, pretty much all these options, I'd suggest adding in the polishing because that's what's gonna get us some variation of a smoother surface in the end.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Brian?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm looking at City of Gold Hill and it says, my question is around the polishing. Is that the same as the sealant or is that a different thing?
No, that'd be a different thing. It's like bringing out a big pad, you know, similar like polishing your car type of a thing. It'll get rid of all the excess grit, grime type of a thing that was left and help smooth out the overall surface. And then they'd come back in and add a seal coat to it type of a thing for the protection from the weather. The seal coat's mainly for weather protection to protect the concrete.
Right. I didn't, and maybe I missed it, but I didn't see the polish in our scope of work?
It's not, which is part of the reason why we've came back here is the polish came about from when I was talking to Dream Landscape Parks out of Newport. They're the ones that recommend polishing pretty much anything they do on a skate park, whether it's grinding it or anything like that to help make that new surface a little bit smoother. But again, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, nothing that we have currently or our options should we expect to have like a perfectly smooth surface skate park, because the only way to get back to that would be to either build a new one or do the concrete overlay.
So would polishing bring the surface to an improved state from where it is right now? Like, will it be
Yes.
better? Will it
That's
be
the
smoother
expectation.
afterwards? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No? All right, thank you, Josh. And I'm going to do something strange here, which is that I'm going to suspend our conversation on this topic and move us into executive session because we have a situation where the attorney that we're consulting with can meet with us before 1 or after 1:45, and so we're going to have a long gap if we wait. So with that said, we're just going to suspend our discussion on skate park right now, and we're going to move into the executive session regarding consulting with an attorney. So the council will now meet in executive session for the purpose of, oh, I guess I have to take a motion on that, huh? You guys have to agree to it. How about that, Val?
I'll make a motion to leave regular session and go into executive session.
Thank you. Is there a second? All right, let's take a vote. All in favor of moving into executive session, raise your
Aye.
hand, say aye. Is there anyone opposed? All right. Yeah, we'll read this first. The council will now meet in executive session for the purpose of discussing the subject previously noticed for this executive session, which is to consult with us.